1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 6, 7, 8, 9. All right. Recording. Actually, I don't have any editing software, so I have to try to make sure that I can do this in one take. No jump cuts, no editing, nothing. My computer is still back in Guadalajara, but here I am in lovely Lorne in Maitland, New South Wales, in my hometown. And it's kind of weird to be back sometimes because it's like walking around, things seem a little surreal. I haven't been here for about 3 years and I haven't spent really significant time here for about 8 years. And walking around, it just seems like things are subtly different. Sometimes it's in good ways. So for example, the cafe here, there's one cafe in my suburb, which gives you an idea of the size. They started selling vegetarian and vegan and paleo and gluten-free stuff, and the same with the corner store or the little supermarket that's in my suburb, which I never really anticipated that. Seems a little weird because everybody is still kind of, well, I don't know. I don't know what they are. I was about to say bogan. If you don't know what that is, it's like saying, it's kind of like saying a hick, or but a little less strong, like somebody who likes to drive pickup trucks, utes, and wear their hair in a mullet and drink poor quality beer. So, so I mean, there are people like that around talking in a broad Aussie accent. And people like to ask me where my accent is from, and I never really know what to tell them. One time, years ago, this is like 10 years ago, before I'd even traveled, some guy in a bar was like, "You're not from around here, are you?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm from Sweden." Soft, eh? And he's like, "I thought so." This is what I don't know if it's just the level of gullibility among drunkards, but I don't know what that is. I guess that's it's hard to believe that I lived here for 20 years of my life and tolerated, I guess, I must have felt that feeling of alienation my entire life. And I just had no idea that there was something different, like this wasn't the place for me. Got a lot better when I left and went to Melbourne. But I don't think I can tolerate spending a lot of time here. I wanted to tell you a few things about my detention in Mexico. So it's kind of funny how they can detain you, but by their own admission, what I did wasn't a crime. So that's kind of funny. They can just pick you up and lock you up and keep you there without trial, without charge. Even Mexicans. I met a couple of Mexican citizens who were in there, and they just didn't have their papers, and so they get locked up. Their lives get disrupted for a few days, a few weeks, whatever. You know, nobody seems to worry, nobody seems to care, life goes on. Sometimes I just felt like saying to the guards and to the legal clerks there, like, "Hey, how long do you think it's going to be before they pick up your cousin, your nephew, your daughter, your son, whatever? How long do you think it's going to be before that happens? Because this is the precedent that you're setting here." And it's a little scary because a lot of people thought that Mexico was, I certainly thought that Mexico was a reasonably free place, and I thought to some extent that was maintained by giving tips to police officers. So if you did something that's not really that serious, and I've seen police officers bribe federal police officers, so it definitely goes on, and it's definitely something that's culturally accepted. And that's like, the other day I went to my brother's house and my brother and my aunt said to me, like, silly boy, what did you think you were doing? And I was like, well, I kind of knew what I was doing. That is, I was acting on the information available. So I know what the Mexican cultural norms are. And so I had no reason to act on Australian cultural norms and think that it was so necessary to have my papers in order. But unfortunately, that changed. But I didn't have access to that information at the time. So I was acting in accordance with the information that I had. And that's all any of us can do. We're only mortal. And that's, that's what in poker you call a bad beat. Anyway, I remember it must have been the first or second day, and I got to speak to the consulate, and she offered me her phone so I could make some phone calls to my friends. And I called my friend Maria Fernanda in Guadalajara, and she was there with my friend Maria Jose and my friend Gela, who I was with when I got picked up. And it was kind of funny because I guess I was worried, I was stressed, I was disorientated, confused. I was probably resisting what was going on to me at that point. And Gela kind of led me through this like instant little guided meditation, or like this little hypnosis. And she's like saying this, it was more about the energy of what she was saying than the words she was saying. But she was saying like, okay, you're gonna take a deep breath, feel the energy, feel the knots kind of dissipate from your stomach and rise up into your heart chakra, all of this stuff. Some of you people would call that new age and woo woo, but the point was it led me, I went along with like the visualization of it, and it helped. And it was good, and it was so good. In fact, here's the thing. Before I got picked up, we were in Tolantongo, and we were doing these interviews. I was interviewing Gela, talking about how she lives such an unusual life, and how actually she didn't even realize what she does is unusual. She just thought that was life. Like traveling around different countries, going to different places every couple of months, learning, several languages. I think she speaks about 4 or 5, living life in different countries and riding quad bikes in Costa Rica, and all of this wild, amazing stuff, the stuff that life is really made of, the adventure. And I was interviewing her, and it came up a lot where she would talk about manifestation, or like the power of positive thinking, or the secret, if you want to call it that, how visualization and actually, I don't know what you would call it, tactilization, like imagining sensations, imagining emotions in the future, and then having your life situation eventually align with that excitement that you have about the future. And then, so I was there in the office, and Gela was leading me through this little instant meditation over the phone. And I started to sit up on my seat, like change my posture, take a deep breath. Oh, take it right in. Take those beautiful deep breaths, like the ambrosia just flowing through your lungs. Feel the amazingness of life. Just pump your blood up. Get that blood pumping full of oxygen, and suck it all up. And I just let go of my stress and my confusion in that moment, and it was a very interesting synchronicity, because up to that point I kind of thought that they were going to bar me from Mexico for about 7 years. And after that phone call, the lady Sylvia from the consulate came in, and she said, oh, so you're going to be banned from Mexico for 1 year, and if you speak to the embassy, maybe you'll get it down to 6 months. Now, it ended up, in the end, the official ban was 2 years. But the point was, changing my emotions changed the situation. Well, at least that's obviously how it appeared to me in that moment. Now, of course, a lot of people were saying, well, it happened after this. That doesn't mean it's necessarily causally related. But, I think it is. And that's from a scientifically minded perspective. I think that's pretty wild. But a lot of the times, I guess I kind of push these sorts of things to the side, and I don't really know why. It's like denial of your own power. But I think it really is like that. So another thing was, I mean, this is less controversial, but another thing was a few days later, I'd come back into the detention center after having spoken with the embassy, and I said to this Colombian guy, like, oh yeah, he said, what did you tell him? I said, well, I said everything's fine, it's not a big deal, the food is fine, and this, I'm taking advantage of my time here. And he said, why did you tell him that, Marika? Why did you tell him that? You need to tell him that things are terrible here. And I was like, oh, what? Is that really how it is? He said, yeah, man, you're gonna get out in 4 days. I've seen it happen so many times for people from the United States. They come in here just a couple of days. They tell everything's terrible, the food's terrible. They get you out. They find a way. But I thought, is that really going to work? And I tried it, and I don't think it actually got me out any quicker. But I do think it got me sick, because I wanted to, over the next couple of days, I was like, oh well, and maybe okay, next time I speak to the embassy, I'll try to construct this case to paint the picture of them, how bad it is for me here. And so I told them, I mean, the conditions weren't the greatest. I told them how I wasn't able to receive phone calls from them, from the embassy, or from my friends, from my parents. I told them that a lot of people came in there and they only had a couple of changes of clothes, or they were restricted from accessing their luggage, so they couldn't get a change of clothes. And of course, that's unhygienic, and people started to be sick, and this kind of thing. And after that, I started to get sick. And so again, it's like thoughts change your reality. And I've read Think and Grow Rich, but I guess I never really fully embraced the lessons in there. And there are things as well. The other thing that's related to that, I mean, a lot of people will say, all right, well, you do the visualization, you do the tactilization, audioization, all this, like these different forms of imagining how things are going to get better. But you also need to pay the piper. You need to offer something valuable to people in order to pay for what you're going to receive. And here's the thing about that, because I guess a lot of people, if they hear that, I mean, it makes sense logically, like you're only going to get back what you put into it. That makes a lot of sense to a lot of people. But here's the thing, it's not just about like money or work or like indulgences. You can offer value in all kinds of ways. And if you happen to watch Gela's videos on Facebook, you can follow her, Gelikwa Amini. You can watch how she gives value to the world by giving this different perspective, like bringing the magic into people's lives, so they can get excited about life. Or if you say you have a really good friend and you say to him, not because it's his birthday or something, just because It's something you feel within you that, hey, what I really like about you is that you're a really calm, patient person. What I really like is that you're warm and loving, and you always go out of your way to be genuine with strangers, and give a little light into their life. What I like about you is that you don't judge me. You don't bring that level of egotism into our interactions. So I always know that I can tell you something and feel free. And I know that you'll be there for me. I know I can say whatever I need to say, and you won't treat me like an outcast. And you can say all these things to people, and I hope you do say them. I hope you I hope you do. I recommend it. When I got out, I went onto Gayla's Facebook and had a look through some of her posts, and she said something about how life had taken me in this strange direction, an unexpected direction. And maybe it was because that people within that immigration center needed a little taste of my positivity, and they needed to see things from my perspective in order to see how it can change their internal world. And it's really great when people say nice things about you, and I hope you can make someone feel like that. Make someone feel that all of the effort that they put into self-development has paid off. That they've made a difference in their character. That the person they once imagined they were, they are. So it's great to feel like that, and it's great to make someone feel like that. The idea about value, or one thing in exchange for another, the thing is, value is everywhere. Value is in all of your thoughts. You can find it. You can extract it from the environment. Like, look at this wonderful tree behind me. There's a sunset over there to my right. You can look around you, look at the shapes, colors, listen to the sounds, and find value. Value isn't limited. Value is everywhere. Meaning is everywhere. And it's within your mind, your heart, your soul, to pick that up and convert that, spin that spin that wheel that can weave gold into thread. And that's all you have to do. So value is there, ready to be exchanged, and you can do that. You can find ways to give value, ways that perhaps nobody expects. So another example, of course, my friend Conscious Kenny, beautiful soul, always looking for ways to give value, and it can be, in more overt ways. Like he says to someone explicitly, hey, I will cook for you 3 meals a day if you give me a place to sleep. And they say, sure, that's a great deal. And that's a very obvious way to give value. But he's also giving value in his positivity and his big smiles, and just the way he is. And he's a good networker as well, which is it's a funny label to apply to a hippie, but that's what he is. He finds ways to get people connections with each other, and that leads him to interacting with a lot of fascinating people. So, yes, you can imagine your future. Yes, feel the emotions, feel the power, imagine what it would be like to have all of your friends around you laughing and smiling and slapping each other on the back and enjoying some great food together. That's something that you can always imagine, but imagine your dreams and feel the emotions, feel the intensity, the power, because that's going to help you draw it into existence, ground it on earth, because earth and magic earth and magic deserve to be together. Thanks so much for listening. I'll talk to you soon, and be excellent to each other. Goodbye.